Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the weekly kickoff. All right, now let's just look at the major currencies. Dollar index cruising topside, as is dollar Swiss. But we are starting to see a little bit of a pullback towards these support lines. Dollar yen drifting lower. Now, there's concerns or expectations that the Bank of Japan Governor Ueda is talking later today in Japan, may start to talk up the prospects of a rate hike. The market has factored in like a 54% chance of a rate hike, 18th of December, I think it is. So that's putting or pushing dollar yen down. Dollar CAD, well, it's like the sleepy just going up, right? Oil falling, dollar strong, cruising topside. Euro and sterling, Aussie, Kiwi, all sort of just cruising downside. Now, like just looking at the markets, there is a little bit of, I wouldn't say like huge pressure at this point. Just coming back to these resistance trend lines, okay, for Euro, sterling, Aussie, Kiwi. Aussie just sort of drifting through there. Now, if these trend lines were to get tested, Monday would be the day where you might see a bit of a trickle through, right? There's been no major change or fundamentals. If anything, what we've seen in the global markets come Friday, still a bit of an earnings season. Nvidia coming up, I think, this week. Nasdaq down 500 right on Friday. So you know what? And the market's like it's not the bursting the Trump bubble, but the equity markets have had a really good run since Donald Trump got in. So have the US Treasury yields, right? They are strong as, and that's been a big part of why the dollar's gone up. So when we look at the currencies, you think, okay, what's going on this week? Well, there's not a lot, right? Especially on the dollar, I should say. Just coming into Monday's trading, you got some UK, bit of Euro data there, nothing really to get excited about. We do have some CPI releases, right? So Tuesday, we've got the Canadian CPI release, obviously important for Canada or the Bank of Canada. Dollar CAD cruising topside, weaker numbers there. Dollar CAD just keeps going up, right? That's the trend, and that's the easiest trade. Coming to Wednesday, we've got UK CPI numbers, right? So sterling and the sterling crosses will be the ones to be looking at there. You come in into Thursday, we start to get our first dribs and drabs of some US numbers, the weekly jobless claims, the Philly Fed business index. I'll be looking at that and existing home sales, right? So pretty much tier two, tier three data. But you know what? When there's no US numbers, the market will sort of pay attention. I can't see them changing the trend. This is what you sort of need to be getting at. Coming into Thursday as well, you're looking at doesn't really matter too much. Japanese CPI is not really a thing. You come into Friday's trading and we get the tail end of the European data. We've got UK retail sales. Where's my little pen? Here we go. You get some PMI numbers out of Germany and the Eurozone, and a couple there late out of the UK. Canadian retail sales figures there as well. And if I just scroll down, I think it was a couple of US numbers. Oh, yeah, the University of Michigan. It's the final number, not usually too much in it. Okay, there's some S&P PMI numbers, but you know what? It'll be all said and done by the time they come out. So really, the Canadian dollar with the inflation numbers, sterling with the CPI inflation numbers on Wednesday, probably the sort of key major events. Just keep an eye on the yen, right? Because the market is a little bit nervous. That's the only dollar pair that's really giving up some ground, and it's around the Bank of Japan. So that everyone's just a little bit freaked out. And if you have a look at the interest rate probabilities, right? So you've got the Bank of Japan here really coming back into play, 53% or factored in probability of a hike. Okay, 19th of December, not the 18th, as I was suggesting. But if you ever look through the central banks here, right, like there's out of all the developed countries, there's no one meeting, right? RBNZ 27th of November next week. The rest of them, okay, it's all going to come down to December. And that's where the data sort of comes into play. But we haven't seen any major shifts in the data, except maybe for the US numbers, which have been a bit stronger, right? And that's why the Fed are sitting at a 60% chance of a 0.25. They're talking about Trump's policies, being inflationary. So that may change the path of the Fed next year, but we'll wait and see how it goes at this point. still factored in. What we need is if all the US numbers come out strong, that could push the probability down a little bit. I still see the Fed going, but that's where we are. Just keep an eye on your news, right? It's one of those weeks. You're coming into that sort of third week of the month where a lot of the key data's out. You just sort of keeping your finger on the pulse, right? Seeing what is going on with equities, bonds, currency news, central banks. Try and find out what you can so you can sort of keep track of what's going on the where these instruments are going. I see the dollar trend continuing. Like when you look at the long-term charts, look, there's been like a massive flush out, right? So we're with euro and sterling, Aussie and Kiwi. Well, Kiwi's just broken down not long ago. Aussie is yet to sort of break, but dollar CAD has broken topside. Well, dollar yen's just cruising topside. Like you look at this on the daily charts, you think, wow, the dollar is strong and keeps going that way. That's the long-term trend, right? That is where things are going. If you come back and have a look at the hourly charts, you see little pockets, right? We can see dollar strength here, but you don't see the significance of it unless you look at the daily charts. These trends are in place for good reason, right? So I'd be looking to go with the trends. As I said, Monday, maybe let the market sort of settle down over the weekend. Let's get some liquidity back in the market and then look to go with those trends through the week. All right. Canadian CPI Tuesday, UK CPI Wednesday, probably the key ones to be looking at. And mainly the crosses too. Don't just look at the majors, the CAD crosses, sterling crosses. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.